Did you ever change the variable inside the function and wondered why it didn't affect the one outside? Well, that's because Python treats variables defined inside the function as local, while those outside as global. Understanding the difference between them is key to writing clear, bug-free code. Hello coders, welcome to my channel. I'm David, your guide to mastering programming. A local variable is a variable that is defined inside the function and is only accessible within that function. For example, if I create a function f, it will have no parameters, and if I have one variable x that is going to have value 1, if I print here x, and now, for example, if I call that function and want to print the x, as you can see, there's red outline, which means that Python wants to tell me that this x doesn't exist. So when I run this code, as you can see, name error, x is not defined. But if I remove this, the code will work perfectly fine. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Thanks for your support. Lifetime of a local variable is until scope ends. To be more precise, until the function scope ends, which is in this case after this print x. Also, that means that after that, that variable no longer exists. That's why when I wrote here print x, I had this red outline to tell me that this x doesn't exist in memory anymore. Until now, all the variables we used were mostly global, but you didn't know that was the official name. A global variable is defined outside any function and is accessible anywhere in the code, even if the variable is defined inside a conditional statement like if, inside the loop like for or while, or inside the class but outside the methods of the class. In all those cases, that variable is global. What I mean by that is if I create here another variable y, and give it value 2, this variable y is accessible in all of my code. I can even print it here. Print y. As you can see, I'll use f-string so the code looks more clear. Y equals y. Now when I run this code, as you can see, it prints y equals 2. Also, I can print y here. F global y equals y. As you can see, it works. Lifetime of a global variable is until program ends, which means the variable exists in memory until you're done using your program. So this y is deleted in memory after this print, because that's the end of our program. I want to ask you something. What happens if I create here another variable? No, I will change this y to be equal to x. What will happen with x here if I run this code? What do you think? Write down in the comments below. As you can see, it prints 1. Why is that? Because Python sees x as a global variable. But when I enter this function scope, it creates another x and it gives the value 1 to that x. This x value is local x. It's a new variable that is bound to value 1. So this function uses this local x. But if I here write here print x, now this print x will see this global x and will print 2, as you will see now. As you can see, 2 is printed. But if you want to use this x and change it, you can use the keyword global that will tell Python that you want to look for global x inside your program, and that you want to use that x, global x, inside this function f. So here I can now change the value of x and print, and no, I won't print it. I will show you that this will change this global x and that this code will print 3. As you can see, it prints 3. So this global keyword tells Python that you want to look for x that is global and that you want to use that x inside this function and modify it. But there's also another way of changing the value of x, which doesn't require any keyword. But you have to use the function that's called global, as you can see here, globals, and then open the parentheses. And here you need to write these square braces and write the name of your variable. For example, mine is x, and here assign some value to it. For example, I'll assign value 3. So now, when I print this, I also expect to see 3. As you can see, this is a function that is used to access all the globals, and which global you're accessing is traced with these square braces and the name inside. This looks like a dictionary. This way of changing the global variables is not recommended. It's better to use the first method that I showed you. I told you that you can create a function inside a function, and that function is now a local function which can only be accessed inside that function. What I meant by that is here, if I create a function, for example, called increment, that will increment, I don't know, this n, here, return, no, n, return n plus 1, n plus 1, and then return n. This function can't be accessed outside. What I mean by that is I can't write here inc and then write x. As you can see, it outlines this x. It tells inc doesn't exist in Python. So that global and local concept also applies to functions as well. Another important topic is, what if I have, for example, here a value x that will be equal to 1? And what if I want to tell Python to change this x? If I write global here, global x, this global x will use this outside x. But I want this x. And also I can't use x like this because this will return me this global x. So in that case, we use a keyword that says nonlocal. The nonlocal keywords tells this function to use the variable name that you will provide to find that variable name outside this scope. For example, if I write here x, this will tell Python to look for this x in the outside scope, which means the one before this scope, which is this x here. The x inside this f, not the global x. So if I increment this x now, x plus equals 1, and now if I run inc, I will remove this parameter because I don't need it, and now print x and run this code, here x, I expect to see 2 and 2. I will write here f inside x equals this, and here print f outside x equals this. Now when I run this code, as you can see, it says inside x has value 2 and the outside x has also value 2. So this non-local keyword is used to check for the variable that you want to use in the scope outside of this scope. And now you want to use that x and modify it inside this scope that you wrote non-local. I hope you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe for more coding content. See you in my next video. Until then, keep coding.